welcome to another situation here by Random Movie Ideas.
I don't know if it's a situation.
Well, situation in the sense that this is not an episode of Random Movie Ideas. This is another web video Ryan and I came up with. We're going to call it Afterthoughts. Afterthoughts will be Ryan and I going to the most recent movies, and we're not going to review movies because everyone is doing that right now. We're going to give you our afterthoughts on the movies that we go to let you guys know how we perceived what was done, and we're probably going to do this a lot more with new movies that aren't reboots.
Yes.
Sticking with our thing, new stuff. So anyway, last night we saw Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. Now there's a concept in itself. When I originally heard it, I was like, this is just weird.
Yeah, I mean, you take an iconic character like Abe Lincoln that everybody knows, there's such a great history behind the character already, and you're talking about making a movie based on a character that's well known by everybody and turning it into a character that nobody would foresee or even think of.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely an interesting twist on a very historical yet character that, if had known better, supposedly had this great secret life, because this is based on a story, a book, which is loosely based on real events in the journal that Abe Lincoln is using. So,
but anyways, what we're just going to do is just talk about how we thought of the movie. We're not going to go into details about the movie. We're not going to go about oh, the special effects could have been better, or the special effects were better in this movie, or stuff like that. We're just going to talk about what we thought of the movie.
Exactly. We're not going to get into spoilers or anything. That's not what Ryan and I are about. We want you to see the movie yourself, because just as we're about to share our thoughts and our afterthoughts, we want to hear your afterthoughts, and we'd be anxious to hear what you have to say about it. But I got to tell you, I am never, ever going to look at wielding an axe the same way. That was just, bar none, amazing.
Yes, and you gotta admit, out of all the movies we've seen, I like that they show him wielding the axe and stuff like that, and it was so awesome to see the movement and the training and stuff like that. I thought that was it just really brought me into seeing the character, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, you sit there and you think about chopping at something, when you're chopping, but never, and I have what I mean is I have a lot of martial arts experience, and I still never, in my mind, in my wildest imagination, would have ever thought up a way of wielding an axe. I don't know if it's because Abe's tall or how it worked, but axe wielding is now amazing, especially the way he was doing it.
Yeah, and I think one of my favorite things in the movie is, you see him with another weapon and stuff like that, but he sticks to the one main weapon, and you see that's his proficiency.
Right, exactly. He didn't, and his mentor gives him various options, but he had to find the one that worked for him. He wasn't a copycat.
Right.
And that's huge too.
I think one of the best things about this movie, which you don't have a lot in movies today, is the storyline. It really looked like the person who wrote this took the time and really went through this. They definitely did Abe Lincoln's character great justice. Usually you see a movie where they have a character and it just doesn't seem like it was really thought through and written. I mean, if you see this movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about, where they have it so you can see where it would actually really fit in Abe Lincoln's life.
Right, exactly. They weren't picking, prodding, and throwing this and that in. It seemed to really fit, and that's unique to the movies today. One of the things that I enjoyed about the movie, and a friend of mine pointed out on Facebook, is that Abe Lincoln was college level trained on his own time. He didn't spend, $60,000 to get the college education. He did it on his own time.
Back then, it wasn't really $60,000.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm just saying that He sought out that education himself, and that's very true to life, and they show a little bit of that, so that's kind of unique.
Right, but we weren't really there back in that day, so we don't know, like, if there's actually schools for a lot of this stuff, or about how people went about doing things.
Well,
unless you do research to see how it was done back in the day. I mean, I know.
He's got a good point. I wasn't doing the research. Thank you, Ryan, for that. But how about vampires?
Oh, I thought the vampires in this were definitely great. There was no sparkling in the sunlight, so that there is always like the best thing for me in a vampire movie.
Yes.
Any vampire that sparkles in the sunlight is not a vampire movie. I'm sorry.
What? Well, one of the things I enjoyed about the vampires in this thing is they took a new direction, as in vampires don't have one ability. It's kind of they all have different abilities, and I like the movies that do that. Not so much the one where shimmering's going on, but a lot of shows today and in the past couple of years have depicted vampires as being all the same, with all the same level of power dependent on how old they are and things like that. It was just nice to see a breath of fresh air. I mean, I couldn't have put that together, but I really enjoyed that. Each vampire was unique and different. So.
And the way the vampires looked when they were vamped out was definitely a lot different than we see in normal time, where you got like the fangs. I mean, when they vamped out, their whole like jaw was just like jagged teeth all around. I mean,
yeah, there was no way you could there's no way anyone would confuse them with human beings.
Well, no, only when they vamped out. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about, when they vamp out.
And yeah, if you definitely saw them vamp out, you probably wouldn't live to tell anybody what it looks like. But I mean, no, it really did a lot of justice for like the story and everything, and they really stuck to the story too, and that's great. Because a lot of movies, they don't give you a backstory, because that way they don't have anything to like base themselves on. That way they can go any direction they want, which is good. But when you have a backstory to stuff and you stick to it and you evolve from it right from the get-go, it shows that the person was thinking things through before they started writing, instead of going, okay, well, we'll just do this, and then we'll see as we go along we can change things, because we don't have anything to really go by.
And another thing that was interesting about this movie that you don't see a lot today is that they started the storyline at point A. When they got to point B, they weren't finished. They had to go into a new direction. And that's a really exciting part of the movie. And when they get there, the other story isn't finished yet.
Right.
And they kind of bring it back. And you don't see that a lot today. Typically is, I got to point A is solved, now we're dealing with point B. It was kind of unique to see that point A wasn't
you really don't. You don't get to point A because you start at point A.
Okay, you start at point A. Okay, well, I think the audience knows what I'm talking about.
Well, just in case they don't, just want to make sure they understand, or you understand.
Okay, so we go from the story starting to the story coming to some kind of conclusion in your mind anyway. Then they move the story to a new story, but yet the actual first story that you thought was concluded isn't actually concluded yet, so they have to bring it full circle. Is that a better description, Ryan?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say I'm gonna put my totally enthusiastic 2 thumbs up. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was an amazing movie. I thought it was excellent. You should see it.
I'd definitely go see it again. There's so much in it. I know I probably missed some stuff that I really would like to see it again, and actually, instead of just being drawn into the story and the characters, just to actually sit back and like watch the movie again to see if there's anything I missed. I like doing that with movies.
Definitely one I'm buying when it's out.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's so much to this movie. Such a great story. Of course, there's going to be scenes in there where you're going to be like, yeah, that would never happen. But, movies today, they do that all the time. And they really kept that to a minimum in this movie.
Absolutely. That's a great point to drive home. But I'll tell you, I will never view Abraham Lincoln the same way. He is one badass mother.
Well, you'll never view him anyways, because he's already dead. You wouldn't even think about him.
When I think of Abraham Lincoln, I'm going to respect his success, his journey of success. I'm going to respect him as one of the greatest presidents, and now I'm going to respect him for the mysticism and possible storyline, if such things were real. And I got to tell you, it's amazing that an icon like that can now continue on even further because of this.
Yes. So until they come out with Elvis Presley, Vampire Hunter, go check out Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Yes, we highly recommend you check it out.